And as the CFO and others, your financial colleagues look at the lab as a cost center, you do have to manage that closely. And as Jim said, that the challenge is when it's hard to fund people, it's hard to pay for people, expenses continue to go up. Why do we think we can make the lab a profit center when it's clearly an expense? And it is a challenge to do both of those at the same time. How do we look at outreach? How do we build? How do we hire more people? How do we hire sales? How do we get CRM software? How do we do those things in the face of, again, lowering expenses from the lab standpoint? That is exactly the challenge that you have to do both at the same time.
There's another aspect of
they're not different though. Go ahead.
Another aspect is that there's a different aspect as well, which is incurring expense in the lab can be a benefit for the overall program. And this is an argument that has been made for investing in anatomic pathology so that the delivery of care on a timely basis and the ability to have patients who, for example, are diagnosed with cancer embedded rapidly in the care for that cancer, you've got to have a good department of pathology. And so it's more than saying, let's just try to run the commodity as tightly as possible. Investment to ensure that the health system can achieve its overall goals has been a very specific aspect of recent times.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. It can't all be focused on outreach and increase and revenue from outreach. That's clearly an advantage if you can do that. Lab stewardship can be difficult, though, from an ROI standpoint, to prove that increased expense saves, for the lab, saves length of stay, though, Jim. I mean, those are difficult numbers to get to sometimes.
Yeah, I found length of stay to be
it's terribly hard to get to that sometimes.
Difficult to connect with.
Yeah.
It feels like, we need numbers to have this conversation, and there's a gap there, right? Where we're trying to make some points where there's not a lot of good statistics around that. We have a question in from Meyer Wilkinson over at Geisinger, sort of in that vein, about where do you find the statistics regarding even hospitals that have outsourced their volume, their revenues, how that's impacted. Is there good data that we can use to make our argument, whether that data is around cost avoidance because of preemptive lab testing? I feel like there's a gap there, and in order for us to have a conversation with people that are looking through the lens of numbers, we need to be able to come with numbers, and it feels like our industry is failing there.